Alright, Shalom. Call on y'all about Shalom Shah. Shalom to the left. It's a quick video. I seen this when I was at work. And I was just going through the news. I don't want to make a lesson on this because as soon as I saw it, it made me think about the scripture. Those who leave in captivity shall go into captivity. And then simultaneously, you still have people that say those from Central America, Mexico, Nicaragua, Chile, Peru, those different islands, Costa Rica, Belize, Colombia, those not people of the tribes, when they actually go through the same exact shit we don't went through and we still go through. So let me let this play real quick.
U.S. federal agents have uncovered a multi-million-dollar human trafficking scheme in Georgia. Traffickers smuggled workers from parts of Central America and forced them into modern-day slavery. The workers were forced to live and work in inhumane conditions for years. In some cases, traffickers allegedly killed workers while on the job and repeatedly raped others. Independent journalist Ashley Banks has more.
And that's Esau. That's why. Let me go to this real quick. I ain't gonna pull that preset first. That's Esau, red ass. That's why you had a. That's why you had a preset to talk about the weeks and the tears. So you can find it real quick. It's the book of Matthew, chapter 13, and verse. Let's see if this is the right one. Oh yeah, here we go right here. There's a few. I'm going to jump around. Let me go back to this one. This book of Matthew chapter 13 and verse 24. It says another parable he put forth. Which, hey, if you want to test somebody out, I advise you go do this because most people really can't grasp this. But somebody that, is more spiritual and got some sense, they can grasp this. Like, just say I was to go to China, Poland, Russia, Scotland, whatever, all these different areas in the world, and I get a woman pregnant in each of those regions that's not of my nation, or not of my nationality, and they have a son, and they continue to grow older and get another woman pregnant and keep having sons, that seed is going to continue on through those sons. That's basically what this parable is talking about. Now, if the enemy come in, which this scripture goes into it, and they do that, that's why you have a lot of people in Central America or South America is actually lighter instead of darker. If you look at one of my previous videos, you had a Mexican guy who was brown skinned. Well, he was Mexican though, so to speak. They didn't get to his family line, but a lot of them other ones that's real light, or they look like an Edomite, or what they call a gringa. They got to them. Now, this in verse 24 says another parable he put forth unto them, saying the kingdom of heaven is like unto a man which sowed good seed in his field. But while man slept, his enemy came and sowed tares among the wheat and went his way. Though when the blade was sprung up and brought forth fruit, then appeared the tares also, which that definitely happened in slavery as well. You had Esau come in, man be out in the shack with his woman, sleeping. He'll grab her up, go take her back to the man's house and do whatever with her, get her pregnant, and throw her back in the shack. So when that baby be born, baby might come out a little brown, a little light. They end up being a house nigga or whatever they do. That's a tear. But you'll look and say, well, that baby mixed. No, that's a tear. And then you got your weeks that actually come from a direct lineage, direct line, so to speak. But anyway, it says, but while man slept, his enemy came and sowed tares among the wheat and went his way. But when the blade was sprung up and brought forth fruit, then appeared the tares also. So the servants of the household came and said unto him, Sir, didst not thou sow good seed in thy field? From whence then hath it tares? He said unto them, But enemy hath done this. The servant said unto them, Wilt thou then that we go and gather them up? But he said, Nay, that's why you gather up the tares, you root up also the wheat with them. Because you'll see some people, like you hear that phrase, everybody that look like us ain't us. That's true. Because you have people that look like you, they don't come from the same line as you. You have people that look like them, and they don't even be them. That's the crazy thing about it. You might walk down the street and be like, this old cracker, this devil, whole time, his parents, great-grandparents, great-great-great-grandparents actually come from the same line as you. They just got light over time. Now it says, let both grow together until the harvest, and in the time of the harvest I will say to the reapers, gather ye first the tares and bind them in the bundles to burn them, or gather the wheat into my barn. The wheat is the elect that's going to get delivered. The tares is the ones that's going to get their ass fired up when this place get wiped out, so to speak. And there's other scriptures that break that down even more. I don't go into that right now. I want to talk about the slavery stuff and how Esau really got to pay for this because they did a lot of shit. And they still doing it to this day. That's how you know who was who. That's how you know who Esau is. That's how you know who the children of Israel is. This is in the book of Matthew chapter 13 verse 36. It says, Then Yahushua sent the multitude away and went into the house, and his disciples came to him saying, Declare unto us the parable of the tares of the field. Because you still have people that couldn't understand this. Just like now. If you go and ask somebody about this, they can't understand it. You'd be like, if I go, just say me personally, if I go get with a so-called white woman, get her pregnant and have a baby, what that baby is, they're going to say mix. Like, no, that ain't what it is. Or if a black woman, so-called brown-skinned woman, give it a white man, Edomite, and she get pregnant, then what that baby is. They ain't gonna really be able to answer it correctly. But this parable, it breaks it down, what it's talking about. Verse 37, it says, He answered and said unto them, He that soweth the good seed is the Son of Man. The field is the world, the good seed are the children of the kingdom, but the tares are the children of the wicked one. Who is the wicked one? Let's go to the book of Malachi real quick. Who is the wicked? Because you got the righteous and you got the wicked. Let me go to this real quick. Book of Malachi, chapter 1. That's on verse 2. It says, I have loved you, saith the Lord. Yea, you say, wherein hast thou loved us? Was not Esau Jacob's brother? Saith the Lord Yahweh. And I have loved Jacob, and I hated Esau. Now, the Most High loved us, and He put us through the stuff that we go through. Just imagine the shit that He about to put Esau through. Because our people, when you look through the history, our people went through all type of shit and still be going to it to this day. Now you have articles and different people writing about how that part of history traumatized the generation now and different generations and all that. And it's right. Those articles definitely be right. So just imagine what the fuck Esau gonna go through. And the Most High hated Esau, but He loved us. He just was mad because we was doing what we weren't supposed to be doing. Verse 3, it says, And I hated Esau and laid his mountains and heritage waste for the dragons of the wilderness. Whereas Edom said, We are impoverished, but we will return and build the desolate places. Thus saith the Lord of hosts, they shall build what I will throw down. They shall call them the border of wickedness, and the people against whom the Lord have indignation forever. And your eyes shall see, and you shall say, The Lord will be magnified from the border of Israel. Now going back to the wicked one, because they definitely are the border of wickedness still to this day. And they go around the world, what they pushing, what they doing. They going to other people's countries. It says, back in verse 38 in the book of Matthew chapter 13, it says, the field is the world, the good seed are the children of the kingdom. It says, but the tares are the children of the wicked one. The enemy that sold them is the devil. Which that word should go back to deceiver or deceptive one. They ain't talking about a red man with horns and a damn trident running around poking people. It says the harvest is the end of the world and the reapers are the angels. So when that harvest comes, so let me go get another precept real quick just to make that a little bit more clear. It's the book of Matthew chapter 24. Verse 31, it says, and he shall send his angels with a great sound of a trumpet, and they shall gather together his elect from the four winds, from one end of heaven to the other. Now somebody getting left out of this, and the angels gonna grab the elect. Somebody ain't getting grabbed up, and who ain't getting grabbed up? Them tares, and whoever else ain't meant to be grabbed up. Let me read this one more time. It said the enemy that, back in the book of Matthew chapter 13, in verse 40, it says, as therefore the tares are gathered up. Oh, better yet, let me get back up a little bit. Verse 39, it says, the enemy that sold them is the devil, the harvest is the end of the world, and the reapers are the angels. As therefore the tares are gathered and burned in the fire, so shall it be in the end of this world. Not the world, because the whole world not finna end. It's talking about the world of Esau. It says, the Son of Man shall send forth his angels, and they shall gather out of his kingdom all things that offend, and them which do iniquity, and shall cast them into the furnace of fire. There shall be wailing and gnashing of teeth. Then shall the righteous shine forth as the Son of the kingdom of their Father. Who have ears to hear, let them hear. So everybody got ears, but I don't mean they gonna hear this right here and understand it. It's plain as day. Let me let this video play some more. Pull some more presets.
U.S. federal agents have
Just so happened, look where they at, out in the field with the wheats
uncovered a multi-million-dollar human
and the other grains and corn and all that out there.
trafficking operation taking place in parts of southern Georgia. The human trafficking scheme, called Operation Blooming Onion, exploited hundreds of people and forced them to work in slave-like conditions. Some of the victims were smuggled into Georgia from Mexico, Guatemala, and Honduras to do agricultural work. Instead, the Department of Justice reported that the victims were forced to perform tasks such as digging for onions, only using their bare hands. If they refused to do so, they were then threatened with the use of gun violence. The workers were forced to live in inhumane camps with little to no access to food or drinking water, and were forced to illegally perform lawn care, construction, and repair work. In order to keep the workers detained, traffickers confiscated the workers' passports and documents, and in some cases, traffickers even sold and traded workers to other conspirators.
Then you have people say, Esau not the devil, and that they shouldn't have to pay for none of this stuff. And they still doing it. They ain't stopped doing this.
The DOJ stated that there were accusations that traffickers killed at least 2 workers, threatened to kill several others, repeatedly raped and kidnapped victims. According to the Justice Department
Who that sound like?
investigators from Homeland Security Investigations, which is a part of the U.S. Immigration and Customs Enforcement, the U.S. Department of Labor, U.S. Department of State's Diplomatic Security Service, the U.S. Postal Inspection Service, and the FBI all started investigating the trafficking ring back in November of 2018. That's where they discovered the traffickers used the H-2A work visa program to smuggle citizens from Mexico, Guatemala, and Honduras into the U.S. The sting took place in southern, middle, and northern districts of Georgia, the middle district of Florida.
And see, when you read, let me go back up just a little bit. Show this. When you read the book of 2nd Ezra and they talk about that voyage when they went around the Horn of Africa and went westward, that's where they went at. Right here, Central America, Cuba, Haiti, that whole island called Santo Domingo, Panama, Bahamas, Jamaica, all these different areas over here. That's where they went at. They went westward. It's in the book of 2nd Ezra, so I ain't gonna pull it up. You can go look it up. It's in the
Middle and Northern Districts of Georgia, the Middle District of Florida, and the Southern District of Texas, and extended to parts of Central America. There, the victims were subjected to inhumane conditions and were illegally forced to pay for transportation, food, and housing. The acting U.S. Attorney for the Southern District of Georgia said in a statement, "The American dream is a powerful attraction for destitute and desperate people across the globe. And where there is need, there is greed from those who will attempt to exploit these willing workers for their own obscene profits." According to the U.S. Attorney's Office, 24 traffickers and associates are facing a number of felony charges for the operation, including charges of conspiracy to engage in forced labor, which carries a penalty of life in prison. Reporting in Washington, D.C., Ashley Banks.
Well, hold up. Well, that means if they do that, then they gotta get penalized too for all this other stuff that happened. They can't just sweep that shit on the road, but let Esau tell it, oh, that happened years ago. They should just forget and forgive. But hey, let me pull these last precepts real quick, because they gonna pay for that shit regardless. The book of Proverbs, chapter 28, and verse 10, it says, "Whoso causeth the righteous to go astray in an evil way, he should fall himself in his own pit, but the upright shall have good things in possession." And hey, that's what the upright look forward to. Good things. Actually being able to dwell in peace, not have to be stressed the fuck out, dealing with certain stuff in society. Worrying about certain jurisdiction and mandates and all this stuff from Esau. And they push it out on the public. But they don't go by that shit. Let me get this last precept out in this book of Revelation, chapter 13, and verse 10, it says, "He that leadeth into captivity shall go into captivity. He that killeth with the sword must be killed with the sword. Here's the patience and the faith of the saints." This ain't really happening long ago. Like we read the book of 2 Peter, and it says that one day with the Lord is 1,000 years of man. That wasn't that long ago, so the Most High definitely ain't forget what happened. So they gotta pay for that. And he judged people and nations, like the scriptures say. So, but yeah, let me get that real quick. Before I end this, I don't even gonna get that. Let's see, find that real quick. Give me one minute. Let me find this precept real quick. This right here already happened. Let me see, let me go back. But it's going to happen again, because like the scripture said, no new thing under the sun. It's book of Genesis chapter 15 and verse, let me see. Oh, we don't get get to the main point. In verse 13 it says, he said to Abram, know of a surety that thy seed shall be a stranger in a land that is not theirs, and shall serve them, and they shall afflict them for 400 years, which has already happened before. It says, and also the nation whom they shall serve will I judge. So, our people serve this nation of people. What type of judgment they gonna get? Now it says, and afterward shall they come out with great substance. It says, and thou shalt go to thy fathers in peace. Thou shalt be buried in a good old age. And it just goes on to talk about more stuff that happened after this scenario. But this gonna happen though. So Esau ain't get off. It might seem like they just did that shit and they ain't really get judged. They ain't have to pay no reparations for it. But they gonna pay for this. And they ain't even stopped. Like, they ain't even cut up. They ain't let no slack. They still try to be slick. See how they trying to do? Oh damn, ain't nobody gonna find out. We just sneak these immigrants in. They got green cards and shit anyway. They ain't even got no ID. They don't got nowhere to stay. We just gonna work their ass to death. And if they don't wanna work, kill them. That's Esau for you though. So I just want to bring this out since I seen this video. I don't want to, I was edifying. Call all y'all about Shalom to the left.